Let me start out and just tell you a little bit about Uni-Chassis. It's a little loud, so I hope you can hear me. We're not here to tell you that we're revolutionizing the industry or anything, but we have got a new way of making automobiles that I think is well suited to three specific segments of the automobile business. The first one is low volume specialty vehicles that I'm pretty passionate about. The second one is reviving the lost art of coach building in the aftermarket. And perhaps the most important one and largest commercial opportunity is for plug-in hybrids and battery electric vehicles that you see all around the SAE show here. Typically, automobiles are either made with body-on-frame or unibody construction. This is a new idea. We call it, it's a simple idea, we call it Uni-Chassis, and basically it's body-on-chassis. So before I unveil the chassis, like I said, it's a simple idea, so let me tell you a little story about how it came about. Now, you know, when I was at Ford Motor Company after the Ford GT, it's no secret that we wanted to do the Shelby Cobra, we wanted to do the Shelby GR1, but when we took a look at the numbers, the variable cost, the investment, the business case just didn't work for low volume manufacturing. And after I retired, I kept thinking about how do we develop vehicles that are lower investment, lower cost, even for supercars, you know, and lightweight. I was watching the movie Grand Prix, which I hadn't seen in about 40 years, and they happened to zoom in on Lotus Formula One car, and I thought to myself, that was the year that Colin Chapman attached the suspension directly to the powertrain. And as they zoomed in on the driver, I saw the monocoque tub, and I said, it's the first monocoque tub, or unibody, if you will. Too bad that he had to cut a hole in it and stick the driver's head out and ruin the torsional stiffness. And that's when the idea hit. I said, I bet a tube about 8 inches in diameter would give the torsional stiffness required if you attached it to, you know, a rigid powertrain with an engine in the front and transaxle in the back. The idea was so simple, I said there must be something wrong with it. So I flew out to see my friend Shelby. Carol's in his 80s. I said, Carol, you've been in the industry a long time. You've seen it all. Have you ever seen this before? She said, no. I said, don't show it to anybody until you patent it. Well, I went off to see my mentor at Chrysler, Francois Castaigne. I said, have you seen this? He said, well, we've all seen backbones. They've been around for a long time, but nobody's really stressed the engine and the transmission and created an entire chassis system out of it. Did a patent search, nothing in the literature. Went to see my good friend here, Manfred Rumpel, who helped in the development of this vehicle. Manfred was my chief engineer at Ford in the Advanced Chassis Group. He also happened to be chief engineer on the Porsche 917 Can-Am cars. He knows a little bit about chassis. And Manfred said, no, it'll work. So with that kind of input, we decided to trademark, patent the idea, and go ahead and build a proof of concept with the help of my friends at Ford Motor Company, with the help of Manfred Rumpel and his Advanced Technologies Group, with the help of Shelby, who sent me a 427 Cobra body that the chassis will be built on, and with Bob Nowakowski here from Techno Sports, we did all the prototype development work on the project. So with that, let's unveil it and kind of explain some of the key features.
Yep, no cameras inside the set. I can see that's really a good rule.
As I said, Uni-Chassis is really a simple concept. It's basically made up of three elements. A front structure, and the front structure stresses the engine, so the chassis input, the suspension input go into the chassis. A rear structure, where the transaxle, again, is a structural element of the chassis, absorbing the rear of the suspension motor. Of course, the most important thing is they are mechanically attached to a large torsional backbone that doubles as the torque tube. There's a pull shaft that runs through it that transmits power to the front and the rear. The neat thing about this is basically you have 4 corner castings for the suspension, two bell housings, and everything else is made out of simple extrusions with a minimal amount of welding. So compared to a space frame, for example, much lower investment, lower cost, and lower weight. In fact, Stefan Rashidi's here. We did a finite element model. We did a sensitivity analysis on the torque tube design, and turned out 8 inches eyeball was just about the right for an aluminum construction. You get 13,000 foot-pounds per degree torsional stiffness, 47,000 pounds per inch bending stiffness, and those are world-class supercar stiffness numbers. Now, if you want to go stiffer and lighter still, one of the interesting things is carbon fiber. Now, carbon fiber is expensive, but one of the least expensive ways of fabricating is in a tubular structure, because you just mandrel wind the carbon fiber filaments. In fact, you can double the stiffness and reduce the weight of the backbone another 40% at relatively low expense just using a carbon fiber tube. Now, I mentioned earlier, probably the most commercial application will be plug-in hybrids and battery electric vehicles. And as you wander around the show, that's all you're going to see. It's plug-in hybrids and battery electric vehicles. Take a look at the battery boxes. Basically what's going on to this point in time is you take 400 to 800 pounds worth of batteries. Then you have to design a box to hold 400 to 800 pounds worth of batteries with 2G type vehicle loads. Then you have to reinforce the body to hold the battery box that's reinforced to hold the batteries. With this concept, you can pretty well look at all the batteries around you. You can pretty well imagine replacing the backbone with a structural battery box, so that now you have an integral chassis. You can adapt multiple bodies to it, lower the cost, because what's going to have to come with the next generation of plug-in hybrid and battery electric vehicles is integration and cost reduction for them to become commercially competitive. So we think as the PHEV and BEV market evolves, this concept of construction will become more advantageous. I should point out on the structure, by the way, the chassis really is from here to here. People have asked about safety. For front and rear impact and offset impact, we've got bolt-on crash boxes and bumper beams, much like any other car. And in fact, for front and side impact, probably have better safety performance, because now you have decoupled the chassis where all the mass is from the body, and you can tune the performance of one to the other as well as to the D-cell pulse. Other advantages: one basic platform. You want a different wheelbase, you just lengthen or shorten the backbone. Lower investment. So you get multiple wheelbase vehicles off the same level of investment. It's modular in the fact that you can swap out front powertrain structures, rear powertrain structures. You've got a mix and match architecture with multiple bodies on the same chassis, reduce development costs, reduce investment. So I think for a few specific markets, like I said, specialty vehicles, PHEVs, BEVs, this is a technology that's worth pursuing. The car will be running, it's built off of all 4GT components, well-tweaked 650 horse 4GT motor, 4GT suspension, 4GT transaxle. We'll have the car running for evaluation this fall. We thought we should show it here at SAE kind of in the raw or in the nude, so that my peers throughout the automotive engineering community could see the idea and evaluate whether they think it's a good thing. We think the SAE Congress is a great place to introduce new ideas, and in fact plan on being back here again next year with a couple more innovations. So I thank you for listening. I'd be glad to talk to each and every one of you individually, and enjoy the show. Thanks.